What's going on, fam? Welcome back to the channel. In this classic Nike box is one of my favorite boots of all time, and debatably the most revolutionary football boots of all time. Now let's hop into the unboxing. Now, of course, if you can't guess already, you've seen the thumbnail. This is a very, very classic Nike style box, which, by the way, most of you might not know this. The orange in this box is actually Nike's official brand colorway. You might think, oh, it's black or it's white, because that's what most of the Nike logoing is on all of their apparel, but Nike's official brand logo is actually orange. So, fun fact, that's why they do the orange boxes for most of their sneakers still to this day, but they used to do it with their football boots as well. This is a very old and tattered box for good reason, because these boots, if you didn't already know, launched in 2014, 10 years ago. And they are, of course, as you can see, the Nike Magista Obra Firm Ground, or FG. In a 9.5 US, yes, I go up half a size in the Magista Obra. It's just how they fit. I fit perfectly in a 9.5 as opposed to a 9. These are a UK 8.5 and a 27.5 centimeters, or a Euro 43. These are, of course, in the Hyper Grape, Metallic Silver, Fierce Purple, and Green colorway. And let's get these unboxed. 3, 2, 1. Oh my days. Well, there you go. What a beautiful pair of football boots. First, I want to give a quick shout out to Cleats AU, who was able to get these over to me super, super fast. Annabelle is awesome, and you guys should go over and follow her on Instagram and DM her and be like, you're awesome. And so there you go. Grab the QR code really quick. And then she also sent a congrats on 100K. Very well deserved. Keep it up, legend. Cleats AU. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Thank you for sending these out. I'm so pumped. Let's get into it. So here you go, Magista Obra. They are definitely tattered, but that's not because they aren't brand new. It's because the Magista, for whatever reason, is one of those boots that does not stand the test of time very well. It's a boot that really, really, really struggles when you don't play in them. And it's a boot that, if left sitting, really isn't a pair of boots that I would recommend actually playing in. I had a pair of, this review was on my channel a long time ago. You guys can go look it up. But a pair of the Wolf Gray with the blue accents, and I took those out to play in, and they ripped in not even 15 minutes. First time I'd ever worn them. That's just the way these are. It's one of those boots that just doesn't stand the test of time, unfortunately, despite it being one of the best, in my opinion, and most revolutionary boots of all time. So the tech specs of the Magista Obra are actually pretty simple, but they're incredibly revolutionary. So let's actually get this one out of the box really quick. I'll set them down, and then we'll talk a little bit about what made this boot so incredible. So back in 2014, you had, let's talk Nike, right? So 2014 included the World Cup, obviously. When these came out, they were in a yellow, red, orange colorway with some black accent marks. Put some pictures up on screen. Those are an iconic looking pair of football boots. Now, this boot launched next to the Superfly 4, which was another all knit football boot. It was the first time we'd ever seen an all knit football boot. These ones happen to be a fully fly knit upper with the dynamic fit collar, which is another aspect that we'll talk about. This also had a Nike skin coating with ACC, or all conditions control, which you can see the logoing right there, for help against the elements. The sole plate is a nylon chassis with a Pebax base. It's one of my favorite sole plates of all time. Yeah, maybe it needed to have a little bit longer studs like the Tiempo of the time did, but I do think this is one of the best sole plates. Really nice and stiff through the midfoot with plenty of snap in the forefoot. It was one of those sole plates that gave you plenty of bite, but not too much, great rotational power. And to have nowadays, with everyone wanting the most aggressive speed boots, this was, in my opinion, one of the best decisions for Nike, in the same way that Hypervenom 1 during that same period of time also had mostly conical studs. Nike understood, which for whatever reason they've gone away from now, conical studs are the best for pretty much everybody. That's how it should be. And I understand the Vapor being whatever. I think the GX and the GT need to be a version of this, because I think that would be really, really excellent. So, two aspects of this boot that made it iconic. The first, obviously, being it's entirely knit, which was completely new for the football boot market. Obviously, we had synthetics, we had leathers at that point. From Nike's lineup, you had the Tiempo Legend 5 Elite in a complete Volt yellow that came out in the same pack. You had the Superfly 4, which was, of course, an all-knit football boot as well. And then you had the Vapor 10, I believe, which was a Tasian synthetic. And then you also had the Hypervenom 1. So you had Nike skin on one, which was like a synthetic material. You had an all K leather Tiempo Legend 5, 2 knit boots, and then the Tasian synthetic from the Vapor series. This boot in particular was so attractive to me during that period of time. 2014 was when I graduated from high school and went into college. And I actually wore the all turquoise model of this, plus the pair of it wasn't the camo pack, but it was the all black with military green accents and orange accents. And I wore that pretty much my entire sophomore year, as well as the all blue, like all royal / kind of my brand blue color, the color actually of the new Phantom GXs. And I'll grab those right here just because I have them. So these ones. So it was like this color of Magista Obra 1. The reason it was so attractive to me was because, number one, I was playing midfield at the time, and I completely bought into the whole Mario Götze, Andres Iniesta. This boot was for them. It was controlling, playmaker, all that stuff. That's what I was trying to be, I suppose. But it was the first time that Nike had made a lightweight football boot, because these are actually quite lightweight. These sit around the 7-ounce mark, which is insane for a quote-unquote control boot. And it was built on a much wider last, meaning that players like myself could break these in with not too much difficulty. The other thing that this brought to the table was, of course, this iconic high-cut design. Now, if you look at a boot that I have right here, which I will bring out, this is the Superfly 10, which is the new Superfly from Nike. And you can see the difference. We'll just put them back to back like this. You can see the difference in the height of the collar. The height of the collar has actually shrunk. And part of that is probably because the Superfly in general was what Ronaldo used to wear, and now he's kind of preferring the low top Vapors. And also, these were kind of notorious for this part becoming a little bit floppy, I guess, or flaccid maybe is a better word, because it just didn't really grip your ankle like it was supposed to. One of the best football boots, in my opinion, the best football boot for a high cut collar, is actually right up there. So this is the New Balance Tequila, and the Tequila high cut is awesome because it actually feels like a compression sock. But you think about that one, you think about the Li Ning boots, you think about, what else do I have up here? There's a Superfly 4, right? So that's one of the OGs. All of these boots, and then Adidas came out with the Pure Control, and there's this whole laundry list of boots that are still to this day knit and still to this day high cut. So Nike completely revolutionized the boot game. If you look at a list of all the football boots on the market, pretty much every brand at least the major brands, include knit in some form in their football boots. You look at, some of you might say, well, Mizuno. Well, if you look at the Neo 4 Beta, it's got knit through the lacing system. That's still like what's called a monosock construction. So it's pretty wild that back in 2014, which is crazy, 10 years ago, Nike completely revolutionized the boot game. It's awesome. These boots are incredible. I think they're one of the best boots I've ever worn. And that's not a rose-tinted glasses at past football boots. That is genuinely, this was one of the most comfortable football boots of all time for my specific foot shape, because they were a little bit wider, a little bit more volume in the upper, super soft everywhere. They had flywire cables through the middle of the boot as well that were kind of woven through the lacing system, which kept you on board a little bit as well. And it was just one of those boots that absolutely slapped in every way. I thought these boots were so, so good. And unlike Hypervenom 1, which I wore in 2013 14 for my freshman year that I went through 7 pairs in less than 4 months or something like that. It was some ridiculous number. I only had 2 pairs of these, a soft ground and a firm ground, and it lasted me an entire year, which is crazy because boots don't really last me that long anymore. So, but now they absolutely fall apart. So let's get onto the on-feet portion of the video. We'll talk about sizing, we'll talk about the shape and the fit and why this particular model was so influential, and maybe some suggestions to Nike, if anybody from Nike is watching this, on how you could bring this back in an effective way, and why in a lot of ways, this was what everybody wanted from this. Let's hop into it. All right, fam, out in the backyard with the absolutely stunning Nike Magista Obra 1. Again, special thanks to Cleats AU. You guys got to go check her out on Instagram at Cleats AU. This is not a sponsored post. This is not a sponsored video. I paid full price for these, but she is an absolute plug and a total legend. So go check her out on Instagram. Go follow her. Give her some love from me and from you guys. So let's get these on feet. Okay, so one thing that I wanted to kind of mention that I thought might bring up a little nostalgia for you guys is if you remember when these first launched, there were a bunch of tutorials online about actually how to put them on because nobody really knew how to deal with such a high cut collar, which is really interesting and kind of funny. But now that everyone knows how to put on the high cut collar, it's literally just like sticking on. I put kind of 2 or 3 fingers in the back and then you go like that. Oh my days. God damn, I forget how good these feel. Man, if Nike remade the Magista, oh my God, these feel good. Okay, so not true to size, half a size up again for the Magista fits me perfectly. I do have a pair of Magista Obra 2s in my collection. You guys have probably seen those. I believe they were actually visible on the boot wall during the first part of this video. So rewind for a minute and see if you can see them. They're white they're the Europack colorway. But just getting in a pair of Magista Obra 1s, honestly, is ridiculous. Like, you forget how insanely comfortable these boots were. And when they first launched and Nike was like, no, these actually feel like a football boot sock. It's like, that is exactly what they feel like. They're so comfortable. And even for a wide foot shape, yeah, maybe they're a little narrow in the toe box, but they break in really well and the width is absolutely perfect. Like, these fit so good. Man, I don't like it would honestly, I would need to maybe for a video I'll do like a comparison between these and the Obra 2s and the new Luna 2s because it's kind of the same construction basically, with obviously slight differences in the shape and in the sole plate. Excuse me. But dude, this might be more comfortable than Luna 2 for me after having tried on and tested Luna 2 quite a bit in the last 9 months or so. Man, I just need a minute. These are so good. Holy crap. Oh, I love the Magista. I think it's such a cool boot and it's so comfortable. If they made a low top version of this, that would be pretty much the kind of the GX2, really. I mean, with a little bit of the grip, because the Nike skin over the top is like kind of waxy. It's like the matte waxy finish. Excuse me, but it's not a grip element. So it doesn't really give you a whole lot of grip, but it is something a little bit different than like a exposed knit material. Here we go. That's what they look like on feet. As you guys know, Magista Obra, Superfly 4 are a very iconic design because of how high the boot looks. So they kind of hide most of the socks that you're wearing, which in my opinion looked kind of cool. The only downside of wearing this type of boot is it didn't look as cool when you wore grip socks with a tube, because the tube kind of basically goes all the way down here and then it looked a little bit awkward. So that was unfortunate, but if you were training just like this, it looks really cool. And then if you were just wearing just your team socks with no like kind of tube and then a grip sock, if it was just the one team sock, they actually looked pretty cool as well. But God, dude, these are so comfortable. Oh my God. They are so comfortable straight out of the box. And I just want to go play in them right now. So touch on the ball for the Magista Obra 1. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about comparing them to some of the other boots on the market as well. Excuse me. Got something caught in my throat. So touch on the ball. Yeah, amazing. So nice and padded, but it doesn't feel as padded as Magista Obra 2, which of course was like the most padded knit boot on the market at the time. And even now, I think it would absolutely, like the only boot that even comes close to that as far as a padded sensation is like Copa Icon, which is a leather boot that's super thick. This is like the perfect combination, in my opinion, of thinness and also like thinness, pliable, but also structure and plushness, because it has the fly knit upper, obviously, and then on the inside it's got a super thin padded layer basically throughout the entirety of the upper, so you get a little like micro cushion as you're playing with the ball without sacrificing any of the ball feel. Because of how consistent this is and because it's an entirely knit football boot, you get this amazing consistent feeling all around the ball when you are manipulating the ball, like on the outside, on the inside, any time you are touching the ball or manipulating the ball, it feels incredible. The only complaint that I think I have about this boot is the heel area. Because Nike was making the high top model, they made a different construction on the high top model compared to the low top model. The same happened actually with my favorite football boot of all time, the Hypervenom 3. So the Hypervenom 3 low had a really nice heel cup area. The Hypervenom 3 DF, or Dynamic Fit, the high cut version, was more like this. So it was kind of a different style of heel, and it sort of was like a mono sock all the way up the backside of the heel, which sort of ruined the heel area a little bit. Because I fit in the Magista Obra so well, it's definitely a boot that I don't have much issues with from a slippage perspective, because the foot feels really locked in. But I know a lot of people struggled with blisters in these, and the Superfly 4, which of course was the mercurial equivalent of these ones. Now, this sole plate is where I think this boot actually is probably one of the best sole plates ever to exist. Maybe outside of Hypervenom 3, at least in the Nike lineup. Like, as far as sole plates go, the Magista Obra 1 sole plate and Obra 2 sole plate, for that matter, are just insane because they're super neutral, but they have plenty of snap and aggressiveness for you to get into the ground, both on AG and FG surfaces, planting, pivoting, all that stuff. The pairs that I used that were both for FG and AG, absolutely fantastic. I wore the FG pair for both styles when I was in college, as I mentioned before, sophomore year, back in 2016. And then 2017, when I went to Denmark, was when the second generation came out, as well as the Hypervenom 3 came out. So that's when kind of my world changed, and I was like, oh my God, Nike is just creating banger after banger, et cetera, et cetera. But as far as these go, in my opinion, Magista Obra 1 is one of the best football boots Nike has ever made. They're the most revolutionary, debatably, of all time, period. And I think that this is a boot that if Nike remade these like they did with the CTR 360, this boot would sell out and be so valuable. If they did a one-to-one remake of it, it would be so valuable. Number one, because original OG Magistas that are now on sale for brand new, like these ones, are the price has gone down because of how not durable they are. They're really bad when it comes to durability. As I said, the Wolf Gray pair that I had, really bad from a durability perspective, because as you play in them, like I get ripping, a lot of people get ripping on this seam right here, striking the ball, and then a lot of people will get ripping on the outside as well. As you sort of flex the sole plate, this tends to rip as well. The upper seems to do reasonably well as far as durability, and the sole plate does as well. There hasn't been any cracking or anything that I've heard of or seen, but it is that seam between the sole plate and the upper that tends to crack a lot as well. So from a resale perspective and from just a hype perspective, I think they absolutely should go with a remake of these maybe in the original launch colorway, I think would probably be the most dope. Or you could do, I'm trying to think, there were definitely a couple colorways that I would have loved to see, but the launch colorway is so iconic, and it's the same kind of vibe that they did with the CTR remake that they did with the yellow and the black. So yeah, there is a lot of noise behind me. There's like a baby crying and stuff. So I'm going to wrap up the video here. Again, please go check out Cleats AU on Instagram. She is an absolute plug, and she's got a lot of cool stock as well. So go check her page out. Hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. If you haven't already, go down in the comment section below and let me know what colorway of Magista Obra 1 you guys rate the highest, and we'll see if we can get Nike to create a remake, because that would be amazing. As always, be awesome. Take care. I'll see you guys in the next video.